So CAMCO makes this hybrid water heater system so you can convert a gas water heater to both gas and electric using AC power. So I'm going to break this thing open. I have no idea how hard this is going to be. I don't know if it's even going to work, but that's what the video is going to be about today, getting this thing set up. So let's get out there and start seeing what we got to do to get some hot water. All right, I hate making videos, tutorials. I have no idea what I'm talking about or doing, but we're just going to get through this. So on the back of this package, you're going to need a wrench or a socket set, pliers, and a utility knife, Phillips screwdriver, drill, and some bits, 1/8 inch and 1/2 inch. All right, I've got all that stuff. I'm going to go out and get set up by the water heater and get these step-by-step directions out and start putting this thing in. So let's just go ahead and get access to the water heater control panel here. What you're going to have inside is your, I guess, what do you call this? A label, a sticker. All right, anyway, we're going to look at this model number, G6A-8E. So the 6 tells me this is a 6-gallon water heater. It also has capacity at 6.2, so I know I have the correct kit since this is for the 6-gallon water heater. All right, so we got the tools laid out. Unfortunately, I've got to pull everything out of here to get to the directions, which are conveniently wrapped inside of that. So I'm just going to do it like that. I'm just going to get on with the steps. We'll figure out what I'm doing here. I think the first thing is going to be turning off the water. So let me go get that done. So water's off. What I've done is just flip up that valve to stay open. So that's going to drain off some of the water, and then I'm going to be coming down here to the drain plug, removing that, and then I'll be draining the rest of the water out of the water tank. Okay, bottom drain plug's removed, leaving that pop-off valve open so we can have that air replace the space as the water comes out and makes it flow a little faster and more not gurgling out. So give that a few minutes. I have to let the ground kind of soak in that water so I'm not walking through a mud puddle. And then we'll get on to the next step of this project. So the kit comes with a variety of sizes depending on what type of water heater you have. I believe mine is an Atwood. You have American / Moreflow and Suburban, so it's got all the adapters for the different sizes. I'm going to be matching mine up to this and then putting in the actual heating element. So that'll be the next step on this. So I haven't taped anything up yet, but I'm just going to go through the setup. So we've got the heating element right here with the wires attached to it. This is going to be a compression nut. Right here in the middle, we've got a ferrule that's going to get compressed to seal it off. And then we've got this compression fitting. This side will get Teflon tape as well as up here. When you put on your Teflon tape, think about the direction that you're turning. You want your Teflon tape to be opposite of that so that it doesn't bunch up. Instead, it keeps unthreading it, or rather stretching it more and more thin as you tighten it up. So as I'm going to be screwing this going in a clockwise direction, I'm going to wrap my Teflon tape counterclockwise so it doesn't bunch up as it threads in. Okay, you will need some open-end wrenches. I'm using a 7/8, a 9/16, and a 5/8 for my application. You could also just use a couple of fits-all wrenches and be able to get these things tightened down. You don't want to hork them super tight, but we want to have it tight enough to where they're not going to be leaking, especially under pressure. Okay, so now I've got the assembly done. We're just going to go ahead and insert it into the drain tube here. Now, when I talked about the rotation of your tape, remember that we're going to spin this clockwise to tighten it, so when you wrap your tape, you want to go counterclockwise so your tape doesn't bunch up on you. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so that was the first part of this whole thing on the outside. Pretty easy to do. Next thing we're going to be doing is taking the wiring. Looks like we're going to go through a side panel onto the interior, and we'll be installing the thermostat and the control switch. So let's go inside and figure out how the heck to do that. So here in the bathroom, I've removed that drawer so I can get some access into where the water heater is located. What the directions say to do is to expose the tank. This thermostat has to be mounted to a flat portion of the actual metal tank, and so I will probably have to be cutting a section of this insulating cardboard off and then mounting the thermostat directly to the top of the tank is what I'm expecting to have happen. Let's see. All right, so I've decided to just go with the top of the tank here. So just cutting out a square. Might have to resize this to fit that thermostat in place, but as long as I can get access to the metal shell of the tank, that's where the thermostat needs to be mounted onto. Well, wouldn't you know it, there is a seam about midway on this tank, and I wasn't realizing that. So I can't get a great flush mount. It's a little bit off as it rides over top of this weld. So all I'm going to do, let me turn the light on so you can see better. Let's see, there we go. Come on. So what I'm going to do is I just cut an extra little section up here, and I'm just going to take that and then slide it back down here. And then I'll mount the water heater, or the thermostat, up on this flat surface once I get that cleaned up with some rubbing alcohol. Be ready to go. So now it's in place. This kind of looks ugly, but whatever, that'll work fine. Next thing we're going to be doing is figuring out how to route the wires up. I've got a suspicion that I'll be coming through real close to where the original wires are going to be going. So I'll just punch a hole through there and drive the wires right up to the thermostat. All right, so back out on the outside, based on location of this heat exhaust, I really don't want to get any closer to that. I think I'm going to shoot a hole just right here to the right side of the original wiring, and just run everything up through going that way. I think that's going to work the best. Originally, I went with all the wires coming out of a hole up here on top, but what I do not like is the amount of exposure I have on this power wire and all the contact it's making. I mean, we've got sharp edges. It's rubbing up against the pop-off valve. So what I did is just go ahead and do another hole here. I didn't want to do that initially because it's just going to be difficult to access it, but I have a plan. So I'm going to remove the red wires out of this hole. If I could do that while holding the camera. Once I get them out of there, I'm going to use a little rod. I'm going to use this to feed the wire up through so I can grab onto it from the inside. So let me get this set up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've just got this on a rod, doing one at a time, so they're kind of staggered so I can fit each one in there. And just going to keep on working. I might have to keep my fingers on there to push that one in a little better. But once I get that in there, I'll be able to reach in from the other side and pull those wires on up. There we go. So let me go on the inside and get this thing finished up. All right, so now we're back on the inside, and as expected, if I get the camera on it, it's there are my wires. So I can just grab that and I'll go ahead and bring them up. I'll finish up the completion of the wiring. Diagram makes it super easy, and all of this stuff is all color coded. So it's only been taking me a few minutes to get the wiring done. We'll just get it temp wired up, test it, make sure it works, and then go from there. So everything is wired up. Excuse the mess in the bathroom. I've plugged into the GFI outlet here, so that way it's protected, but the circuit does recommend a 15 amp outlet. But right now I'm just going to run this thing and see how it does, and I'll let you know if it works. Okay, well there you go. That's the CAMCO hybrid heat kit. Pretty easy to install. Got everything hooked up. I'm running it off of this GFI plug, so it's not drawing that much power because it hasn't tripped my GFI. Did recommend a 15 amp circuit. Comes with everything you need, just using this off and on switch that was provided in the kit. So what I'll be doing, obviously, is getting in here and doing a little more of a permanent wiring solution, but I did want to just use the kit, get everything hooked up, and see if I got hot water, which I did. 30 minutes you'll have warm water, about an hour you'll have plenty hot water. So yeah, it works, and it was a lot cheaper than replacing an entire water heater. Hope that helps you guys out. Take a look at it.